Hey, I'm John. Welcome back to Mr. G's Workbench and the F-18 step-by-step build. If you recall, in the last episode, we did steps 1 to 3 for a variety of reasons instead of step-by-step. Go back and watch that if you'd like. All will be explained to you, and this out-of-focus cockpit will be made apparent to you. Today we're going to move on. The next step is not step 4 because the instructions are dedicated to 2 different kinds of Hornet. The next step is actually step 7. It's going to be the intakes and the exhausts. So let's take a look at the instructions and see what we've got. Step 7, you see we're going to assemble the intakes. In theory, they're flat white. Here's a picture showing them anything but flat white. I've got a couple here. I'll show you those pictures of the prototype. Then we're going to move on to the exhaust, which are kind of just short abbreviated versions. Here's a picture of the real thing. Then we're going to attach the outer exhaust parts as well. I've got a plan for those. I'll discuss it as I go along once I see how it works. So the first thing we're going to do is let's get the parts for the intakes, and we're going to figure out how we're going to paint them so they look a little bit more realistic than that plain old flat white. All right, let's go. Here are the painted intakes. I painted them with, I used Tamiya flat white, and I mixed in a couple of drops of Tamiya XF78 wooden deck tan, just enough to give it an off-white look. Like, I haven't seen a single picture where these things look white. So I painted that, and what I might do afterwards is when I go to paint the plain overall once it's assembled, I'll probably put some sponges down into the intakes. It's this way that the front sections will be painted the gray color. But I'll deal with that later. My thing here today is to get these intakes assembled. So that's the intakes. Here's the painted engine exhausts. A couple of notes here. There were ejector pin marks on the curved surfaces at the front and back of the exhausts. I tried to fill them. I tried to sand them. It's an impossible angle. You can't get in and sand them even with a thin sanding stick without rubbing up onto the ribbing that's inside of the engines. I'm banking on the fact that it's so narrow you really won't be able to see it in the long run, and I just kind of waved the flag for that one. So what I did is I painted the 2 halves with Tamiya flat black. Then I went in with MRP anodized aluminum because it's just a weird, like, not silverish color. Just to give it a metallic color that wasn't bright. And then I went in and painted the dark color you see is MRP burnt iron jet exhaust. So I sprayed that from this is the back of the exhaust towards the front, just faded it a little bit. The nozzles on the engines are closed anyway. It's going to be hard to see down in there, so I'm fine with that. done with step 7. Here's the final results. These are the exhausts for the engine. As I mentioned, I'm not installing the nozzles until after paint and assembly. There's no reason to. And I'm hoping that that'll cover up the awful look inside of those tubes. Let me see if I can get a shot for you that clearer. All right, we got that. We got these intakes. I am completely not thrilled with my intake work. I tried a couple of times, putty and sand, painted, and I still have gaps showing. So I've scratch built a couple of FOD covers. So I'll be installing those towards the end once I get the intakes together and painted. So I won't have to worry about those. Like I said, I sanded them, I puttied them. I couldn't get them to look good no matter what. So rather than like bring down my whole build, I'll just take the easy way out. Slackers use FOD covers, and so I am today. And then as we finished in the first 3 steps, we got the cockpit. So next time we get together, it'll be step 8. We're going to be installing the main gear bays, and we'll be putting all that stuff we just put together into the lower fuselage, all right? So I'll see you guys next time, and thanks for stopping in.